The president has already made clear he's not interested in 60 days, 10 people. He wants all the hostages out, all 48, including the 20 who are alive, the 28 who are deceased. He wants them all out. There should have never been any. Why are we even talking about hostages? Why do we still have to talk about hostages at this point? There shouldn't be any. They should all be released immediately, period. That's the president's position.
President Trump just spoke at the UN General Assembly. What's our future going to look like with the UN? What's going to be the future with the Israeli-Hamas war? Check out this clip over here with Marco Rubio talking on Fox and Friends, giving a very clear message as to U.S. policy regarding the war in the Middle East. So we'll watch this clip together and then talk about it. But first, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
Secretary, Fox is exclusively reporting that Hamas wrote a letter directly to President Trump asking for a pause in fighting for 60 days in exchange for half of the hostages. Do you know if this letter has been delivered yet? And will the president entertain this idea?
I don't know who they gave that letter to. It wouldn't have mattered, though, because the president's been clear, and that is that we haven't seen the letter. We don't have that letter. And even if we did, it wouldn't matter. The president has already made clear he's not interested in 60 days, 10 people. He wants all the hostages out, all 48, including the 20 who are alive, the 28 who are deceased. He wants them all out. There should have never been any. Why are we even talking about hostages? Why do we still have to talk about hostages at this point? There shouldn't be any. They should all be released immediately. Period. That's the president's position. So he would have rejected that offer had it come, but we haven't seen that letter. I think they gave it to the media or somebody, but they haven't given it to us.
Mr. Secretary, the president said the final warning to Hamas. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, you've got Israel is right at the doorstep of Gaza City. I mean, they've begun an operation to go in. And all of the leaders of Hamas, all of the main leaders inside of Gaza and Hamas are all concentrated in Gaza City. It may take a while, but they're not going to survive the Israeli push. Now, what we would hope to see is that it doesn't have to happen because Hamas surrenders, they lay down their arms, they release all the hostages, and then the important work of sort of rebuilding Gaza and providing a place where Palestinians can live prosperously and peacefully, that work can begin. But that work can't begin until the hostages are released and Hamas no longer exists. And so the sooner that happens, the sooner peace will begin.
The president, what is his reaction? What's the administration's reaction about our allies? We have France, we have the UK, we have Australia and Canada recognizing the Palestinian state. What does that say about our influence?
Well, these countries are doing it, frankly, because of domestic political pressure in their own countries. You know, because of migration policies, their countries have been flooded with foreigners who have become politically active and are insisting that their governments do these sorts of things. And so that's what they're responding to. But look, it's irrelevant. It's going to get a little bit of attention, but there is no Palestinian state. You can put all the, it's kind of an emblematic of what the president says about the UN. You can put out all the paper in the world you want. The only way there's ever going to be a permanent solution to this challenge between Palestinians and Israelis is a negotiated settlement, one in which the Palestinians are going to have a territory and they're going to govern it, but it cannot be one that's going to be used as a launch pad for attacks against Israel. And that's something that has to be negotiated with Israel. It isn't going to exist without Israel's participation. That's what these leaders should have spent their time working on, ending this war, eliminating Hamas, so you can get to that stage of talks about that topic. But for them, and for some of them in particular, more than others, it's sort of a vanity project that's trying to make themselves relevant. But here's the bottom line, and here's the truth. Okay, when it comes to actually getting peace done, when it comes to actually stopping this, they're not going to any of these other countries.
Of course.
They're coming to us, they're going to President Trump, and they're asking him to get involved and bring it to an end. You just asked me about a letter to from Hamas. Hamas didn't send a letter to France. Hamas didn't send a letter to any of these countries on your list. Hamas apparently, supposedly, sent a letter to President Trump because everyone knows, even an evil group like Hamas, that he's the only one with the power and the influence to make something happen.
It's such a good point, and I don't want to put you in a bad position, but do any of these countries ever tell you why they're not willing to accept any of the refugees that's coming from Gaza, from the Palestinian Authority? Because we hear publicly sometimes, what do they say?
They say, well, we can't take any more people. We already have too many. They say, frankly, what any country should say, which is, in fact, I think if they won't say it publicly, but they'll say it privately, and not just these countries in Europe. I mean, the countries in the Middle East. Look, it's not like every country in the Middle East is raising their hand and saying, okay, we'll take 100,000 refugees. It goes back to the migratory debates we've had in this own country. I mean, every country in the world thinks open borders is crazy. Egypt does not have open borders. Jordan does not have open borders. Europe does, or has had for a long time. But none of these countries most countries in the world do not have open borders because it's crazy. It's lunacy. And only we had that under President Biden, and now that's been fixed. Right. And I think the president will point to that in his speech today. America had a migratory crisis unlike any in the world, and we fixed it very quickly under President Trump.
The UN is a useless organization. It has great potential, but practically speaking, it just doesn't do anything. I do like what Marco Rubio says over here. Number one, there shouldn't be any hostages. This idea of exchange and you're going to wait 60 days and give 10 back, and this shouldn't be on the table anymore, right? It's either surrender and give back all of the hostages, or you're going to be eliminated. And secondly, this idea that all of these Western countries making their banners that they're going to endorse a Palestinian state, I like how he says this is all just useless talk, because at the end of the day, there's not going to be an establishment of a state unless Israel is involved, unless there is someone to talk to on the other side as well. Who's going to manage this supposed Palestinian state? Where is this supposed Palestinian state going to be? Is it going to be Hamas? It's not going to be Hamas. It's not going to be a terrorist organization. It's not. It can't be the current Palestinian Authority, which still is paying pay for slay. In other words, if someone from the so-called West Bank, if they commit terrorism against Israelis, they're rewarded by the government, right? They're the more moderate compared to Hamas, but they're going to be the ones that are going to be running this Palestinian state. So who and what and where, there's no details about such Palestinian state, but these Western countries have to make overtures to their voting class, who unfortunately has been overrun by radicals that they've let in from through out-of-control immigration, something that all of us need to be aware of and take heed of in our own country as well. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.